Good evening and welcome to this meeting of the Troutdale Planning Commission for Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. If we could have roll call, please.
Commissioner Glantz.
Present.
Commissioner Minkoff.
Here.
Commissioner Kester.
Will not be here this evening.
Okay. Commissioner Prickett. I see you. Commissioner Wilcox.
Here.
Chair Stephenson.
Here.
And Commissioner Allen.
Here.
All right. This time I would like to ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I will be leading us this evening. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right. And is there anyone wishing to speak to the Planning Commission this evening on a non-agenda item? Come on up, sir. You must be in trouble.
I usually like, my name's Glenn White, Troutdale resident, if you guys require that. I usually like to come in at your first meeting of the new year, which is tonight, the way government works. Also, normally I like to stay for the whole meeting, but I'm going to be taking my wife to the airport, so I'll stay as long as I can. I just really mainly want to thank you guys for the work you do. You take a big burden off of council by handling specific tasks, and I know that it's been a lot of extra work this past year due to changes that Salem has made, forcing you guys to look at things. And I also want to thank our staff. I think we have a really good planning staff, and that helps. That also helps a lot. We have that kind of support. But I know some of the bigger projects were map amendments, mainly due to figuring out what our zoning is. We do a lot of changes there, and especially the town center overlay. I thought the work on that was really good. And planning usually is very creative on coming up with solutions. One that stuck out for me was with the CFEC rules on asking the DLCD of adding parking to the list of things you can do to get the extra story. And they were quite taken back by that. They go, no one's ever asked us that. So I thought that was a sign of how creative you guys are in trying to keep what we care about most in Troutdale and work it in somehow. So it doesn't go completely unnoticed.
That's right.
Yeah, and then you guys visited the parking study. We still have a parking shortage, but it's not as bad as we may have thought. So hopefully you guys can come up with some continued solutions, because I know it's one of the bigger complaints we hear about for people that come to visit our town and from businesses, even though they might be part of the problem by parking in front of their own establishments. It'd be nice if they could free those spots up. I think it'd be better for their business and the town. That's just my opinion. But I also noticed how well you guys support our existing businesses downtown and try to find creative solutions to help them instead of hurt them. And I think that's really important, because you lose some anchor tenants, and then what replace them may not be as desirable. So I really appreciate that effort. And you guys are also keeping a watchful eye on the URA, and I see that as probably the most important project we have going on in the city. So I appreciate your guys' input on that. And that's really all I had for tonight, but again, I just want to thank you guys. I know seems like we have less and less control. We notice it on council as well, but I think continuing to try to find those creative solutions is about all we can do. So keep it up. That's all I have.
Am I able to ask a question?
Sure.
So I was curious, this is beyond what we do here, you being on council. The community center that's next door, it has historically been one of our higher cost maintenance buildings. I wonder what the possibility is of that building going away, becoming more parking for the downtown area, making more use of the property that's on Buxton for the same purposes, the community purposes.
Well,
Something to consider. I don't expect you guys right now, just putting a bug in your ear.
yeah, there might be room at the new city hall that was purchased further up Buxton for that department, but we don't know yet. They're still figuring out what needs to be done or what they're going to do exactly. But I know that building's come up more than once. It would be nice to have some parking there, especially with Wayfinder. It makes it a difficult, if you're trying to make a turn out of Wayfinder to go up Buxton or south on Buxton, with the cars parking there on the street, it's really a tight spot. I know that's been brought up by council to maybe block a few of those spaces off on the corner for better visibility.
And the real estate is more valuable to us down here than it is up there. So if we can transfer some of that activity,
Absolutely.
it frees up some parking.
Could we maybe petition Congress or something to no parking sign out here on Second?
Yeah, I can relay it and see what, I'll come back with an answer. How about that?
It's more than I
Next
can.
year, of course. No. Yeah. Anybody else? All right.
Anyone have anything?
Thank you again for your time,
Thank you for
your volunteer work. I know it's
positive comments and means a lot coming from you guys after a little smackdown last meeting. Okay.
see what happens.
Your to-do list, when your wife's not here adding to your to-do list, we'll just tag team it.
Yeah, taxi service. If I don't get a go.
Thank you
All right.
to the council president.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, before we do minutes, there's another piece of business that we need to take care of, and that is electing officers for this year. It's not on the agenda, but we do need to do that. So at this time, I would like to open the nominations. We'll start with chair for the Planning Commission for this year. So open those nominations now.
I nominate, this is Kevin Minkoff, I nominate Tanny Stephenson for chair.
Second? That's right. We don't need seconds for this, do we?
What's that?
We don't need a second for this, right?
We do, because we're old school.
Okay. And it looks like Shirley's mic isn't working because I think she was trying to jump in there, trying to say something.
You having technical difficulties there, Shirley?
Yeah, it looks like it. We don't hear you.
We don't hear you.
Here's us.
Oh, there
Now I
you go.
hear you.
No, some change.
Now you're there. Okay. Say something. Yeah, perfect. Okay, now we can hear
Very
you.
faint.
A little faint, but we can at least hear you. All right, other nominations for Planning Commission Chair?
Nominate Commissioner Prickett. She can't deny it.
Yeah, she's shaking her head. Are you declining? Okay, she's declining. All right. Pardon me?
She wants to close nominations.
Okay. Motion to close. Do we have a second for that?
I'll second.
Okay. And all those in favor of closing nominations for chair?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, those are closed. Now let's go to vice chair. We'll open nominations for vice chair for the planning commission for this year.
I was going to say, who's not here tonight?
That is me.
Well, I will nominate Shirley Prickett.
I would second that.
Okay. Motion and a second for Shirley Prickett. Other nominations for vice chair for the planning commission for this year?
Nominate Rich Allen.
Okay. And Rich Allen? Okay. All right, and other nominations for vice chair? Okay, and so motion to close?
Motion to close. So, yes, motion to close nominations.
A second for that?
I see Shirley's trying to, yeah.
Just raise your hand. Wave your
Yes,
hand.
there you go. All right. Okay, we have a second. All those in favor of closing nominations for vice chair signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. Opposed? Okay, that is closed. Okay. So the first one would be, we'll go back and vote. Kenny Stephenson for chair. And I guess we'll vote that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, that carries. Now we have a twofer, so we'll take them in the order that they came in, which would be Shirley Prickett for vice chair.
Aye.
Okay,
Oh, what do we? Go ahead.
You want to do roll call for this one?
we'll need to do roll call for this one. Okay, so for Shirley Prickett for vice chair, we will do roll call.
Commissioner Glantz,
Yes.
Commissioner Minkoff,
Yes.
Commissioner Kester. Oh, he's not here. Commissioner Prickett,
Wave your hand. Yes.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Commissioner Wilcox,
No.
Chair Stephenson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
Okay. So that carries. All right. So congratulations or condolences for those that'll be serving this year.
Condolences.
Appreciate it. Okay, now, did everyone receive a copy of the minutes for June 10th of this year? From that
Went
meeting?
off the online one.
Okay. And we will start with corrections, and we will first go to Commissioner Wilcox.
We instantly look at Paul.
Okay, on page 2 of 2, looks like. First one would be under 6, communication. Last word in line 1, Nesbit, is misspelled, 1 T. Next paragraph, 6B. The third line down, it says at the north end of Troutdale Food Cart. We should specify Troutdale Station since we have 2 food carts on us. Also, end of that line says Gateway, Halsey, Border, Gateway, Halsey Overlay, GHO. The words are mixed around, it should be Halsey Gateway Overlay. The only other one I had is the bottom of 6B, third line from the bottom. It says, also mentioned Frank Stevens' resignation. Not sure if Frank actually resigned or whether he declined to reapply. His resignation, we need a possessive apostrophe after Stevens. didn't resign, then it, shouldn't say resign.
He actually resigned his positions before the end of June, I think.
Prior to the last meeting.
Yeah. So technically, since it was before the end of June, it's a resignation. But yeah, would get an apostrophe, you're right.
That's all I have.
I wish I had Paul as a best friend when I was in school. I could have used that.
It's a gift. Okay. He sees things that the rest of us don't.
I would have done better grades.
Okay, other corrections to the minutes for June 10th? None. All right, then I would entertain a motion to approve as amended.
Chair Stephenson, I'll make a motion to approve with the edits as Paul outlined.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, there we go. All right, and now we're up to the best part of the show, which are the updates, and we're starting with residential high density zoning.
Yes, thank you. So this question has come up a couple of times, and we had put this question on our parking lot issue for the commission to review and to look at. And this dealt with the professional office uses in the high density zone on 257th, just across from the high school near Cherry Park. And I hope all of you read the memo that was in your packet. It kind of outlines the situation that we have. So I wanted to start off with, tackling some of the questions, that the commission had, such as, are commercial uses allowed in the high density residential district? If commercial uses aren't allowed, are they allowed to expand in that district? And should the city consider rezoning these properties to allow for these businesses in this area? So I'm gonna start off here kind of going through these list of questions that the commission had. So currently, in our current development code, we do not allow professional offices within the high density residential zone. So what does that mean? That means that those current uses that are there are legal, non-conforming uses. If they wanted to expand, we do have a chapter in our code that allows them to expand a certain percentage. Now, hypothetically, let's just say if one of those medical offices decided to vacate that building. Let's just say hypothetically they moved to downtown. If that building sat vacant for more than a year, that use is no longer permitted. So if somebody came in, if somebody wanted to come in and use that use, planning staff, we would say, nope, that's not allowed per our code. You would need to redevelop it as high density residential use or some other use that's permitted in our current code.
Because it's not even conditional.
Correct, because it's not even a conditional use in the code now. What we can do or if the planning commission so chooses, I went back to the previous code before the code was updated, I think in 2017 or 2018. And I looked at the zoning district that those parcels were in, and those parcels were in a zoning designation called apartment residential 2. And in that chapter of the code, professional medical office uses were permitted conditionally along arterial roadways. So what we can do to make them no longer non-legal, non-conforming, We can go back to our current code and kind of add in that language so they would be permitted conditionally, if that's an option the commission wants to consider.
Or you could even do it outright if you wanted to.
Correct, that's always an option.
Does anybody remember what those put in the 80s?
I went back and I pulled, I did a lot of research on this project. They were built, some in the late 80s and early 90s.
Yeah, like 88 or around there?
I think when 257th went in.
So way before it was HDR. So.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
Yes.
long before.
Yeah, and I wasn't here in 2017 when all of you were updating the code, so I don't know if the commission had any discussions about not wanting those uses in the high density zone, or if it was just overlooked.
I'll just say, I brought it up because I felt it was an oversight. And you look at those uses fit, and I think in that corridor, they still fit today.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking, like, let's say the dermatology place goes out, right? And whoever owns it maybe wants to put in an office building. Can't do it.
Correct. It would be very small. It would be 10% of.
You know, they can't
the
do
site
it,
size.
which personally, I think it's a bit harsh. And so I would just like to see more options because we're trying to not only just develop the whole thing as residential, we're trying to have other commercial uses mixed in with the residential, and I think this makes sense to allow for it, especially since it's there now. Commissioner Glantz.
I was going to say the term mixed with residential to me is a little too far. I like that it's lining the roads because nobody wants to have a house right up against a busy freeway. And that seems like a perfect place to have, office buildings that aren't terribly high, a story or two, and kind of blend from the road to kind of help block the homes behind that. I don't know that I'd want that 3 rows in, going through residential roads to get to the location. So adjacent maybe is a better word. Or buffer in a buffer zone kind of thing.
It would still be allowed on the property, right?
Yep, I'm fine with it.
How it would be configured.
I wouldn't want houses or apartments there. I think that should sit back just a little bit. Safer for kids and apartments and, safer for just people getting in and out of residential areas.
I think Commissioner Glantz has something there. If you look at it, they've historically been supporting businesses that support the surrounding residential. So it seems like we really shouldn't discourage that. I like Commissioner Glantz's idea. And it's hard for me to have somebody build something like that under one set of rules and then change it on them and punish them for it. So that just seems wrong to me.
Well, it allows for what's there today.
There's certain restrictions around, expansions and what they can do now.
Right.
So
if the property owner loses their tenants or whatever.
And I was gonna say, theoretically, the property owner loses a tenant and he finds a tenant and then he's gotta do tenant improvements to the building. That very easily could be over a year, which would put you back into purgatory,
And forbid they lose a tenant during a downturn.
And so potentially they could wanna do something and then they would lose that opportunity because the building was vacant.
Just wanted to mention, I there's two particular properties. I looked them up on the property rules, and the Adventist medical offices, those are actually building occupied and owned by Adventist. The dermatology office, I couldn't tell for sure. So it's owned by some property management, realty, I don't know. Wasn't exactly clear. The Adventist is definitely owner occupied.
I think those are franchises.
Those medical ones?
The Good Skin, the dermatology one.
So that's possibly a tenant.
Yeah. I do think it kind of, like we're talking about, it could limit. So is this something we want to take up?
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do I need to do a conflict of interest because I have doctors in the wood building? I don't make money
No,
from the doctor, it goes the other
and certainly
way.
not yet. This would be something we would put on the list that would come before us.
Right, we would make changes to the development code to allow these uses either conditionally or permitted. That would be a discussion for the commission to have, along with some design standards as well.
So it'd come back in the form of basically a hearing packet.
Packet.
We just don't want to make that up if you guys are like, no.
I'm supportive.
We okay with that?
Is there something going on with either one of those properties?
Not at all.
Why is it an issue now?
It's an issue now just because, well, it's probably my fault.
We finally caught it.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, what are we allowing today? What would we allow tomorrow? And I'm looking at it and it's like, we wouldn't allow this. This is just me going through it as a citizen, looking at it saying, okay, this seems to fit well for the neighborhood, seems to function okay, but we wouldn't allow this going forward. Why wouldn't we allow this? There's no request.
We did have that case not that long ago with the,
Yuri's.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're reading my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And no, this wasn't about Yuri's.
I thought about that too, Paul.
Yeah. This is just more about being able to have the same type of use.
I agree with Commissioner Allen, changing the rules after the fact, especially the built environment. I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah. Really hurts when it happens to you. All right. So does that work?
Great. Yes, staff has direction. Thank you.
Okay. So let's move right along.
Moving along.
Is that enough direction?
That is enough direction. Yeah.
All right.
So the second item for discussion this evening has to do with the parking reform, your transit corridors. So this question actually came up at the last planning commission meeting in June regarding transit line 20 as being the most frequent transit route and meeting the administrative rule per CFAC. And staff, we went back and we asked some questions of DLCD and TriMet staff. And line 20 does in fact meet that frequency of 4 stops or more an hour. So it should be designated on our map as the frequent corridor, which means that there's no parking space. There's not a mandate for parking spaces within a half mile of that transit line. It was interesting when I had this conversation with TriMet, because TriMet, their interpretation of the Oregon administrative rule language is that all of the transit lines in Troutdale meet that OAR because they look at it bidirectionally, that frequency. So if a transit line makes 4 or more stops along each line in whatever direction, that counts.
Is that for any part of the day?
It's from 9 a.m. to,
Anytime. It just has to meet it for 1 hour.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of wondering, because I used to commute with line 20, and I stopped because you get delayed at work, and you miss your bus, and it's the last bus of the evening. You kind of learn not to do that again.
Not to work.
Well, not to rely just on the bus to get home when you don't know if you're going to end up having to work late, and then you're kind of stuck at work.
so speaking to TriMet, they believe that all of our transit lines meet that rule. However, their staff did say that the Oregon administrative rule doesn't specify whether the frequency is bidirectionally or in one direction. And
I mean, it would make sense if you're downtown and it's going, one's going west and one's going east. But for a lot of that 20, it's basically, oh, look, they turned around and they came back 5 minutes later and it's still going to the same direction.
right. So staff, we can make as planning commission in the city, we can make our own interpretation of that rule. And we can look at it as being one direction. And so if we look at it as being one direction, then line 20 is the only line in Troutdale that meets the Oregon administrative rule. So in your packet, we have developed a new map of what that would look like, and we would need to update this map in our development code.
What are the impacts to changing the designation?
There's not a lot,
But there could be.
the impact is that the properties shaded in orange that are a half mile from line 20, if one of those properties came in and wanted to redevelop, they're not mandated to put in parking for our parking standards in our code. Now the only, and this is more like internally for staff, and the OAR says that we should be looking at these TriMet lines once a year and make changes of line, the frequency changes on lines. And internally, like if these maps, get changed quite frequently year to year, sometimes that information can get lost if you get planning staff on board. You kind of can lose that history, and but that's just something internally, like our staff, we're going to have to manage and keep track of.
I understand that it's the way it is, but the typical standard for North America is the bus line is a quarter mile, right? The walking distance is a quarter mile from where the bus is, not from the zone. Quarter mile from the bus stop, and it runs every 15 minutes. Not that you can see a bus every 15 minutes going somewhere. A bus is going the direction that you're going every 15 minutes. And this has changed a couple of times based on TriMet's, I guess I would say, funding strategy, priorities, and state priorities. I just look at some of this and it's like, when you look at some of these, I mean, this is a long walk for some people.
I didn't understand why so much of the orange area, the CFEC no parking, why it went so far north.
Well, it didn't go all the way to the river.
It's really,
Okay, so it's like, what didn't it cover? But there's no
So-
bus line there.
So are you talking about on line 20, Commissioner Glantz, why it's so far north?
No, I understand because that the route is primarily Stark and Burnside. But what I don't understand is why, everything further north is also orange. I understand that
Great question.
backside of Mount Hood Community College has lines Stark, even though it's not necessarily on the bus line and there's nothing there, so whatever.
So as part of the CFEC rules, your town center area, I want to take a step back here. Because the city decided that we weren't going to eliminate parking for the entire city. Part of the CFEC rules state that the town center boundary area and a quarter mile from that boundary cannot have parking mandates. So,
Even though it doesn't have frequent bus service.
correct.
That's logical. Not.
I have to agree, it's totally out of touch with reality.
Yeah. And I was going to say the east one, I mean, it is almost a mile you would walk to get to the bus. Not a quarter mile, it's almost a mile where the bus goes now.
Question your white area, all this,
All this down here?
yeah. Why is that white?
That is white because it is more than a half mile from line 20, and it is more than a quarter of a mile from the town center boundary.
Okay, so so the only bus line that's on this map is 20.
Correct. You got it.
I know I can get to a 81 in 2 minutes from my house.
Well, there's some hellacious hills in this map. Not everybody's in great shape.
Well, they will be.
Or they die. There's no accounting for hills, is there?
No, it's just
Age of population, handicaps, nothing.
today, maybe tomorrow. But I do think there's, and we've done this before, I do think there's still things that need to be brought up as far as where the deficits are. So that our people know that we've done our job. And we at least see this.
So moving forward, we'll come back with a development code amendment to have a hearing on this map. Planning Commission, you'll make a recommendation to council. Council will need to adopt it per the CFEC rules, or they'll be out of compliance. And then I also want to bring to the commission's attention, we will need to update our development code when it comes to accessory dwelling units. Right now, accessory dwelling units, we review them under a type 2 planning review. And under, I forget what housing bill it was, they changed it. It is it's a type 1 planning review. So we'll come back with that change as well. And what that means For all of you that don't know the different types of reviews, because I know it can be kind of confusing to know all the different types. So with the type 2 planning review, we notice the neighbors within X amount of feet that we received a planning application for an accessory dwelling unit. With a type 1 application, neighbors won't be notified that a neighbor is building an ADU. That's the difference.
Two questions. Can we change that to where type 1 notifies immediate neighbors or adjacent neighbors? Okay. Question 2, on the CFEC map,
Yes.
can there be a clause in there that the next time TriMet has to make cuts and line 20 cuts down, that this map changes?
Yes.
Okay.
1 out of 2.
So Sandy,
Asking so I get ones that
the
answers
second
are right.
question,
Yeah.
yes, we can make that notation. And your first question, unfortunately, it's state law now that
It's not like that costs anything.
It's basically to cut down on public input,
Complaints.
frankly. I think some of it's just so there can be neighborhood excitement when the excavator shows up next to your house and starts digging something out. And you don't know anything about it.
Can we offer them like to put up a sign to keep neighbors friendly or offer it as a service? Not require it?
I don't think so, but maybe.
If it's not required, they can say no, but we can say we will do this on your behalf at no charge.
that's a good question. Let me think about that, because I know from previous work in other jurisdictions, even with street trees, we know if you were removing a street tree, you had to put a notice on your tree for a week so all of your neighbors would know.
Like you don't have to talk to them, but give them a fighting chance to say
Yeah.
something.
Let me let me look into that, Commissioner Glantz.
Okay.
They still have to comply with the existing setbacks, right?
Correct. They would have to apply with all the clear and objective housing standards we have to build an ADU.
It just still usually doesn't go over very well.
All right, moving on to the third topic of this evening is our sign code update. Associate Planner Dakota Meyer, he put together a great project milestone and deliverable table for the commission to review for this project. He outlined a great work plan, which includes not only review from the Planning Commission, but a review with the Community Advisory Committee and kind of having some workshops together around some proposed changes in the future. And he lists some of the questions for the commission to consider as we start going through this project. So I will answer any questions that you may have about this scope of work. But we just wanted to lay it all out there for the commission to review first before we start chugging along.
I say, as someone who works with product managers all day long, whatever timeline they give you, you just mentally double it. It's like, sure, it's going to get done then. Sure it is.
If there's a Pandora's box, though, this is probably it.
Mm-hmm.
think pulling CAC in is workable. I just am like, it's gonna sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here, probably because I am, but the community engagement piece on the webpage, I think you're gonna get a lot of, no, we don't want this. Like, period for signage. Because who usually wants the signage? Business community.
And I think it really depends on what planning commission is looking at to change. You know, one of the things I think we need clarified in our sign code is feather signs, feather, flag, whatever we want to call them, how we approach those. Are they temporary signs? Are businesses allowed more than one? Do we want to prohibit them altogether? That's a question for planning commission to decide on, make a recommendation on. We've had a couple of questions from downtown business owners about lighting for their signs, and you know, they've wanted some backlit signs, and we don't allow backlit signs in our downtown area. So that might be another question, a good question for the commission to consider. Internally.
To allow those?
Yeah.
Can't they do that inside the building?
You can have those inside the building, yes,
That face out? Yeah.
but not on the exterior.
Okay.
You know, and I would say if you want to look at, you know, the current sign face and height limits, you can, but I don't necessarily think you have to go that route. I think they all currently make sense.
I think less is more. Less we screw with, the less that comes up for discussion again.
Clarity's probably.
Clarity is the big one.
Clarity would help, but if you're going to enforce all of these, you should probably have like a whole building for code enforcement to work out of.
There's that. Mhm.
We'll need to expand that by quite a bit.
I think there's, you know, I think planning staff, we will come in and we'll make some, we will provide some options for the planning commission to consider. It would actually be nice in our sign code to have some like diagrams and some pictures of you know, how we measure signs, sign faces. There's little things that we can do,
Measure.
yeah, to the to the code to make it more clear for business owners.
That's a good idea. Signs aren't cheap, and if they measured it differently and now it doesn't work, that's bad.
They don't get that far. You have to turn everything in to get a permit before you make it.
Hopefully.
I would be interested how many permit requests we get for signs.
I can get you that information. We can provide you that information as we move forward in this project for sure.
Pretty sure we get more signs than permits.
Oh, yeah. I'm just curious.
Yeah, but you get quite a few, I would imagine. But maybe feather, we end up putting feather into the banner category or something, I don't know. We can, a lot of things to look at. The feathers could be flying signs, because some of those, there's parts of them flying all over the place. A flying sign category.
All right. Well, staff will get started on this project as well. We'll be coming forward probably in September with additional information for the commission.
I do have one curiosity. If I were to fly a remote-controlled airplane and have a banner trailing behind it, how high up does Troutdale own air control?
I'll leave that question up to the FAA.
Well, if I say below FAA and above what we have jurisdiction over, I can pretty much do what I want, right?
So back to signs for just a second, if you don't mind.
No problem.
So we're going to come back, staff's going to come back with a recommendation of what they're thinking about before we go to the webpage piece.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay, perfect.
Yeah. I think we may start like a webpage saying, where this project is
Coming? Okay. So I just know that signs are very polarizing.
I know, I've worked on many sign codes.
All right. I cut you off.
No, that's fine. There's contributor. Thank you.
Oh, are we,
You're still up.
communications? Moving on to communications, okay. I have a couple of briefs this evening. First, I want to let everyone know that the Second Street Bridge project, we have an open house online as well as a survey. I sent out an email to all city committees yesterday, and I hope everyone can go online, learn a little bit more about that project and take that survey for this project. This project is going to be wrapping up later this fall, early winter. And once again, this, and I've said this before, the city, we're not building a bridge at this time. It's just a feasibility and concept planning for a bridge. Will a bridge work there? Will a bridge fit there? What could it look like? And then it will provide us with some additional information about costs. And then from there, we will have all that information, and if this is something that the city really aspires to, we can start looking at potential funding and what a funding package could look like through federal grants, state grants, regional grants, etc. We
Well,
also tabled.
question?
Go ahead, Commissioner Minkoff.
Thank you. Just on this one specific point, sounds a little bit like kind of in reverse order, if I may. It seems to me that the goal should be to find out if the public wants it, if it would be something mostly supported by the community, that then goes to the city council, and immediately determining how it can be funded. You started your comment with, this is something that probably can't be afforded by the city, so we're still gonna just poll everyone, get some ideas, pass it on to city council, see if they want to do it. But it seems to me that if we can find funding for this, federal grant, state grant, whatever, wherever those funds can come from, not out of the general budget, which we don't have, but if we can find the money for it, we should pursue it. So that seems like that's part of the planning mode for this bridge, is to determine, can we get funding? Where can the funding come from? Then we submit that whole package to city council and say, here's what the public wants based on all the input. Here's where the money can come from. What do you think? Because otherwise, if the emphasis is on well, we can't really afford it, that's where it's going to sit. And years from now, we'll think about putting in that bridge, just like Multnomah County and the state of Oregon is thinking about the I-5 bridge for how many years, and then whatever, $10 billion price tag that would have been suddenly in 20 years becomes a $50 billion price tag. Well, it's a similar process. Let's see if we can get funding. That's my take. Let's see if we can get funding. Let's see if we can get it done. Go for that. Do that work. Then we can present the full package to city council and say, here's what the public, I know I'm repeating myself, but here's what the public wants, and here's where we can get the money. What do you think?
Anyone else? Not seeing any.
Okay.
Do I hear a second? Oh, that wasn't
A
a,
second. No,
never mind.
Thank you for your comment, Commissioner Minkoff.
Yeah, I think the council's gonna have to make a decision on the funding piece of it outside of us. Because we can't even authorize like a grant search or anything. We don't have that ability. Like, we can't task staff to pursue funding.
No, but I think that it could be presented to city council in a way that says, this is what the public wants. These are the potential sources. Do we have your authorization, your blessing for us to pursue these funding sources? That's the way I would present it.
So, I mean, that's just assuming that everyone wants it. So it's like if I walk up to you and say, hey, do you want this new Corvette? Or do you want it in red or blue? I'm going to go, ooh, blue. And then I take the blue and it's like, yeah, surprise, all the payments, come with it. So I worry that when we ask them if they want it, I mean, sure, I want a new Corvette. I'm sure everybody wants a cool, bridge or walkway, but that doesn't mean that that's a fair representation of what the project entails.
Well, that's taking a little bit askew, if you pardon my phraseology. But if someone came up to you and said, would you like a brand new Corvette? And we have some sources for potential subsidy. There's Oregon state tax credits. There's federal tax credits. There are lender 0% interest rates now available. There's XYZ available, and therefore your payment might be as low as such and such. No,
Sounds like a
such
car.
and such. Yeah, might be as low as $1,000 a month. You say, well, that's nice, but no, I'm not interested. If that's what it turns out to be. But you might come back and say, well, gee, if all of those things are available, you can help me obtain those credits and those discounts, and my payment is only $300 a month. Yeah, please research it. Let me know.
That's a different presentation rather than, do you like this concept? Do you want us to pursue this?
Well, then I didn't explain it well. That's my mistake. So the way I just explained the Corvette is really how I was wanting to explain how to go to city council.
Duly noted.
Okay.
And it's just gonna be where city council is because the funding is such a mess right now.
All right. Second update, as you may know, The city, we received a grant through the, oh my goodness, state of Oregon to update our economic opportunities analysis. And we are having our third meeting next Thursday. And so that packet information will be coming online. And if you are on the interested parties list, I know Commissioner Wilcox is on that list, you'll be getting the information as well.
I was too.
Yes, you are, Commissioner Glantz, you're on that list. So you'll get that information tomorrow. That packet will be going out. Our last first Friday of the year will be in September, September 4th. So I hope to see you all there. We'll be tabling about the bridge project that day. We also tabled for the bridge project last week at First Friday. And we got a lot of great input. And the Planning Commission meeting in September on September 9th, we have one public hearing scheduled so far, and that is for our local, creating our local historic district of Hungry Hill. And unfortunately, I will not be at that meeting, so it will be Dakota Meyer and Nick Ramstead will be here.
Will be nice.
Yes, it'll be their show that evening. You're in good hands. That's what I have.
All right. Here we go. All right. Commissioner Glanz.
I'm just glad the wind is favoring us and we don't have the smoke blowing towards us. So
Okay. Commissioner Prickett.
Just give us a thumbs up.
I just have one question, I guess. City posted on their Facebook, I think, about the new event space from in the Discovery Block, the east end of the Discovery Block. It's from the boutique hotel.
Oh, the private, yes, the private park.
Yeah. So that's probably, and actually had a link to the company that operates that. Sounds like it's going to be a event space, private event space. It looks like a public park for all intents and purposes. So how is that handled?
That is up to the business owner themselves, and I think they may be putting in some fencing.
That might be one solution. During the cruise, it looked like a public park to me.
Yeah, I mean, the property owner that owns it is very generous, and she wants it to be open, for Troutdale residents to use, which is very kind of her. But it will be used for some private events as well.
So, I don't know how I put this. Increasingly, over these last few years, we get these highly unpopular things to vote on, that we get a choice of yes or yes. So then the question is, why do we even vote on this stuff? You have to vote on it. I mean, if you only have one answer, which is yes or yes, then I don't understand the purpose of us voting. And I don't know, anybody can figure it out, maybe Commissioner Wilcox can, but that's totally up to you. Somehow it's legal, huh?
I believe we have to take a formal action to put it into, even though it's mandated, we have to take a formal vote action to put it into place. And if we deny it, it ends up going into action anyhow.
Right, that's what I meant by yes or yes.
Correct. Because if we voted it down, the model code would go into effect, which,
Well, it depends on what the question is.
most likely,
Right.
right?
We're
If it was
just-
something that was mandated and we voted it down.
I've been doing this for a long time, right? And not necessarily planning as long as Tanny has, but you just see this increasingly in these last years where we don't really actually have a choice.
Right. And I understand that.
And so you can vote for it this way, you can vote for it that way. You just can't really vote no on unpopular ideas. And the public looks at that, and I don't know if anybody's had anybody walk up to you, but it's like, why did you vote for this? Well, my other option is to vote for it, you know? And I had to vote for it this way or vote for it that way. I couldn't vote no. So it's a really odd predicament to be in because the public doesn't understand that we don't really actually have a choice.
And we used to have more of a choice.
Right.
It's just there's been more executive orders and the structure of how land use is handled has changed.
It's more like the state doesn't take no for an answer anymore.
More like they probably don't take an answer.
Anyway, is it legal? How is this? I don't know how it's voting and why we even have to do it, but
I hear you, but we'll research it and see what we can find out.
all right.
All right. Let's see, at the July 14th, I believe it was, city council meeting, they took up the Halsey corridor package. And one of the things, we had this whole thing with TriMet going on, and I made a suggestion that maybe it should go back to planning. And the council elected to, they didn't like it in general. There was a lot that they didn't like about it. And they scheduled a work session for September 21st. I believe it is, 21st or 22nd. For them to take this up and work on it. And so that's kind of where that's at. So it did not pass, it did not fail, it's gone basically to a work session.
September 22nd.
22nd, okay. And so feel free to tune into that one if you want to. It will be somewhat of an interesting discussion as far as what we can do, what we can't do, and how that works. But, so we had that happen, and then so for the rest of it, I think we are good. I want to thank everyone for supporting me in the role. I'll do my best to represent you as fairly as I possibly can. And thank you for your time and dedication. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All the online people.
Live people. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed Kevin Minkoff. Didn't I
You missed me?
miss
You
you?
missed me. Thank you. I
I'm
missed
sorry.
all of you too.
I'm sorry.
No, that's quite all right. I am going to ditto Sandy's comment about the wind. I will also say that the rain we had this morning was a godsend as well. That is, it couldn't have come at a more propitious time. Is propitious the correct word in this case? Anyway,
Great.
I'm gonna have to look that word up. But anyway, thank you. Thank you to everyone. And good luck, Tanny and Shirley, on another year of management duties.
Thank you. And
You're
again,
welcome.
I'm sorry I missed you the first time around. Sorry about that.
No problem.
All right, and we had a motion by Sandy, seconded by Rich Allen to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I
Opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you all very much. We will see you next month. Bye.